How's it going, everybody? I was gonna do a holiday related video where I would either talk about a few fun facts on Thanksgiving, similar to my Colombian Independence Day video, or I was gonna talk about the first Thanksgiving and what happened afterwards. Pretty much the Pilgrims and the Wampanoag tribe, who refer to themselves as the people of the first light, they sat down, they broke bread together, and it was a jolly old time. At least that's what we're taught. But I saw something on International Men's Day that really opened my eyes as to how low these spineless, misinformed, man hating cowards will go to disparage men. Let me paint a picture. So, as you may or may not have known, International Men's Day was on Friday, November 19th, and I was not aware of that. Not because International Men's Day is not important, it is, just like how International Women's Day is important, but there are very few holidays that I care to acknowledge and celebrate. That's just who I am. So I just started work and I parallel parked in front of a plaza. And as soon as I did that, a truck passed by me heading in the opposite direction. The side of the truck that was facing me was all black with white text. And at the top it said misogyny. And it was broken up like you would see a word in the dictionary. It was broken up like misogyny. And under it, it said, males inequitably dominating females to oppress, marginalize, and or defeat them. Yeah, I know, exactly. When I read that, it completely threw me off because, like I said, I didn't know what day it was. To me, it was just a regular Friday. So I was completely caught off guard. I was speechless, but it slowed to a red light. So I got out of the car, I ran along the sidewalk, and I captured this footage.
Look at that bullshit ass shit. Fuck you.
Just remember, it's always important to have evidence. Now, I don't know what came over me in that moment where I decided to film that, but I lost all my social anxiety and I told myself I had to just record it as proof that there's an agenda going on. I mean, we all know it, but the more documentation I guess there is, the more we could like show the other side who's denying it. So after I filmed that short clip, I turned I turned to whoever was behind me, and it was just, just a bunch of college kids walking by, and I was just like, ain't this some bullshit? And I mean, most of them, like, they didn't really say anything. Like, they just kept walking. Maybe like three or four guys like saw the truck because it was still at the red light, and they were just like, "Oh yeah, huh," and that was it. So I went back to my car, and it was still a red light, and I decided to follow it because I was expecting it to go somewhere, but it didn't. After a few street lights heading north, it did a U-turn, and so did I. I would say about a mile south down from where I originally parked, it stopped, and it was pretty much in like a small space. I guess you could say a fork in the road. To the left of it was the main street, and then to the right of it was a small side street that led to a few apartments and college dorms. So, I parked on the right side, all the way to the right, and I got out. So I didn't want to step into the main street because I didn't want to get hit, because unlike Frogger, we only have one life and there is no respawn. So I was at like the back of the truck, I guess you could say the back corner, and I was able to get a close up of the side. And I noticed that at the bottom center, it said Center for Bioethical Reform. And then on the bottom right, it had a number. So that's when it hit me that it was either some type of like guerrilla marketing somehow, or it was a social experiment. Those were like my first two thoughts. So then after I was done filming my second video, I went back to my car, and when I Googled the Center for Bioethical Reform, a few links down, it mentioned International Men's Day. So that's when it hit me. I was like, oh, okay, well, regardless of what this is made to crap on men. We only have like what, two holidays? Father's Day and International Men's Day. And we can't even enjoy that without some misinformation and propaganda thrown our way. And I was pretty pissed, but like I said, it all made sense to me like in that moment. So I sat in my car and the truck was in that spot for I would say about like 10 more minutes. And then it drove off and it continued to go south. So as I was, just driving around the area, I saw a second truck with the same signages on each side. And I was pissed off because I don't understand how and why this was acceptable. I mean, I guess we can all answer that question. The whole, third wave of feminism and anti-male movement just loves to throw a victimization at everybody. And I live in a college city, and regardless of what generation you were born in, regardless if you went to college or not, we all know that college students as well as young folk, teenagers and people in their 20s are very impressionable. So this crap is being thrown at them, especially young women, to further solidify that victim complex. So after I saw the second truck, I decided to call the number. It rang a few times and then it went directly to voicemail. I didn't leave a message. I wanted to. I wanted to leave an angry message, but I figured if it's a social experiment, a guy calling in, they're gonna use that against men in general and be like, oh look, toxic masculinity, whatever. So I waited about like 15 minutes, and it was around I would say 3:45ish at the time. So I called again. It rang a few times, straight to voicemail. So I thought, whatever, this is what they want. I'm just gonna go on about my day, and I did. The truck stayed relatively in the same area for a few more hours, and I would see them every now and again as I drove around. But once it was sunset, they disappeared. It was a huge punch in the gut for me, and it was an epiphany. Just how active this anti-male movement really is. And I get it. We point and we laugh at it now, but sooner or later, we're not going to be able to shrug it off. Cancel culture is rampant. They keep denying it. They say consequence culture. But what's funny is that the same people who are saying it's consequence culture are the ones who would probably be canceled by their own. So for the rest of the shift, I kept thinking to myself, is this going to happen every year on this day? Is something similar going to happen on Father's Day? Because in that case, you're going to push people to, I guess, do some type of trolling on International Women's Day and on Mother's Day. And it's just going to escalate and escalate. And I'm not saying there's going to be violence in the streets. I mean, I hope not. who knows? But nothing's ever gonna get solved. I know that this is like a ranting, rambling video, but I really wanted to share this with you guys. Wait, is that sexist? And I wanted to show evidence that how low these misinformed fuckheads are and just what they'll do to bash men. We can't even have one day to ourselves without getting shitted on by man-hating, ugly, stupid, uneducated woman. So, I'm expecting stuff like this to just start popping up everywhere because it's already being targeted to children through television shows and entertainment. So now they're really stepping it up. So if you see something like this happening in your city, make sure you try to get proof of it, so when they inevitably deny it, they can't. So I hope y'all were somewhat entertained by this, and I appreciate your time and listening to my ramble. But we really have to stand up to this. We have to push back on this propaganda, this misinformation, and this victimization because it's not doing society any good. So that's all I got. Thanks for coming by, and I'll see y'all next time.